Hey everybody, good Monday evening. How's it going? We got to talk about this. We got to talk about a little something going on in the NFL right now, particularly the NFC. We got to talk about this conference because it's actually really kind of hilarious and amusing how narratives can change so quickly. Because I remember when the offseason started, it really looked like the NFC was going to be bad this year. Back in February, after the Super Bowl, I was looking at the NFC and thinking to myself, you know what? I don't see a whole lot of greatness here. I see one or two teams that I think could be really, really good, but it looks like a weak conference to me. We thought Rodgers was out. We thought Brady was out. And as the start of the offseason went on and these things started to really look like they were going to happen, like Brady retiring, like Rodgers seemingly having one foot out the door in Green Bay, I thought to myself, you know what? I don't really believe in him anymore. I have my doubts, but we should keep Wilson so we can try to make a run at things while the NFC is so weak. That was my initial thought. And then, as the days went on, we made the Wilson trade, and then I saw what was happening in the conference where maybe that wasn't going to be the case, right? Like you saw the Philadelphia Eagles have such an aggressive offseason. Suddenly they looked like a potential juggernaut. You saw Brady unretire, come back to Tampa Bay, make them supposedly a really good team again. Aaron Rodgers decided at the last second to stay with Green Bay, decided to come back. The two-time MVP remains in the conference instead of leaving. And I was like, okay, you know what? The conference isn't going to be that bad. Moving on from Wilson now was actually a good idea because even if he has a good year, if it's not like an amazing year, it's not going to be enough. This conference is going to be a little too good. The Packers are going to be great. The Bucks are going to be great. You've got teams like the Eagles now that are on the rise. You probably got to, like the Saints at one point looked like they were going to be really good this year. You looked at all. I looked at all that and was like, okay. The Rams signed Allen Robinson to replace Odell when it became clear that Odell wasn't going to be healthy for the season. That was another one, and I was like, okay. Now it makes sense to just kind of take our lumps with a stopgap quarterback for a year and just move on to 2023 with some high draft picks. And this year, it's not going to be the year anyway. Even if we had kept Wilson, we weren't going to do anything this year. Well, now here we are, and my initial assumption looks like it's right. I don't think this conference is any good. Obviously, you do have some teams with good records. You do have one or two very notable teams. But the conference overall, to me, looks bad. And on top of that, moving on from Wilson has actually enabled us to maybe take advantage of that more than if you had kept him. So figure that out. Like, legitimately, this is not me trying to just throw a bunch of garbage at the dude, but if we had kept Wilson, the way he's played so far in Denver, I think we are probably 1-5 right now because they're not scoring. So if we had kept Wilson and had that same offense that couldn't score, not only would we be getting demolished in most of these games with the way the defense started, but we certainly wouldn't be winning very much. So, yeah, 3-3. I know the Seahawks overall, they're not a great team, but if you look at the way the defense played yesterday, you identify the things they did to make the defense better, and you take a look at how good the offense has been for a good chunk of the season, where even when they have an off day like yesterday, they still avoid turnovers, they still cash in on a handful of drives over the course of a game, they still bust off some big plays. You put those things together, and you take a look at how good the offense has proven it can be. The previous 3 games, Falcons, Lions, Saints, where they lit up the scoreboard, and you're like, you combine what this team could be with how bad this conference looks, maybe we are poised to kind of take advantage of it, and this is why I don't do the tanking crap. This is why I understand you guys want high picks. I know you guys want prospect X, prospect Y, but it's a better problem to have when your team is actually having success despite deficiencies on the roster. It's better to have that problem than have a two-win team with high draft picks. When you're 2-15, like some of you guys were kind of hoping we would go this year, you have so many problems. A super high draft pick is not single-handedly going to fix everything. Again, I'd rather have the young players who are currently on this team play well and help us win games. That's exactly what we're getting right now. Tariq, Kobe, Cross, Lucas, Mafe, Walker. So that's more valuable than a high pick. You don't even know if the guy... I'm sorry, it doesn't matter who it is. You don't know if he's going to be good. You just don't. Let's talk about this conference for a second here. The Eagles are good. Okay, I think the Eagles are really good. They do a lot of things well. Their defense, I really like that defense. I'm really impressed with them. They've got a great point differential. They played the Vikings back in week 2, and the Vikings looked like the other team in this conference that might be really good, and they destroyed them. They made them look bad. So, yeah, the Eagles are good. All right? The Vikings, they're 5-1, so they're that good, but does anybody feel like that's a juggernaut-type team? You look at the Vikings and what they've done so far this year. The best team they've played this year outside of the Eagles, who made them look bad, is the Packers. They played the Packers week 1 when the absolute inexperience the Packers have at wide receiver was at its strongest. So the Vikings got to play the Dolphins with Bridgewater instead of Tua. They got to play the Bears. They got to play the Saints. Like these, they're good, but are they 5-1 good? Do you see the Vikings be as some 13-win team this year? I don't. I don't really completely believe what they're selling yet. I don't completely buy it yet. The Giants are the other 5-1 team, and like, do I even have to say it? 14 plus point differential. Over and over and over again, they just get involved in these close games, and so far this year, they've managed to eke it out at the end over and over and over again. Tennessee had them, blew the game. Baltimore yesterday had them, blew the game. Like, they're better than I thought they would be. They're a decent team, but you can't tell me they're as good as their record. To me, that's a team that's probably going to end up around 9 wins this year, and for the moment, they're masquerading as a juggernaut, but I don't buy it. The Cowboys, their point differential is even worse. It's plus 12. That's a team that is winning with defense, good for them, but I don't know if their offense has a super high ceiling, because I know they're going to get some guys back. They're going to get Dak back. Eventually, they get Tyron Smith back. They lost some guys on defense. They're going to get those guys back, and their defense has been really good so far this year. But the Cowboys don't scream juggernaut to me. They scream a team that's going to win a lot of low-scoring games. They strike me as a team that's going to have problems all year on offense. Zeke is probably going to wear out as the season goes on at his age. His effectiveness so far has been a big part of what they've been able to do. So it's a good team, but I don't see anything great with that team personally. Not yet. And you can still run the ball on them. As good as their defense has been, multiple teams have now had a lot of success running the ball on them. So they're a good team, but I don't see any greatness there personally. And look at the teams that you would have expected to be at the top. Tampa Bay, I don't see much there. They needed one of the worst officiating calls of all time to finish off the Atlanta Falcons. If they don't get that terrible call, they may be 2-4 right now. That's possible. They just lost to Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. They don't look good to me. I'm not impressed. San Fran, I thought they were going to have a big year this year. Once Trey Lance got his feet underneath him, by the end of the season, I thought they would be a juggernaut, but I'm sorry. They can be as good as they want to be on defense, and they are an incredible team on defense. With all these injuries that they have, and the fact that their offense still runs through Jimmy Garoppolo and his garbage butt, like, that's never going to be a team that you feel 100% confident backing. They're going to get some guys back on defense. They're going to be great again, sure. But that offense with Jimmy Garoppolo is always going to be suspect to just have terrible games, terrible moments. I'm not seeing a juggernaut from them with Jimmy G at quarterback. The Rams look... Do they look more bad than good? Kind of. They didn't replace the left tackle Whitworth. They didn't replace him. They have massive holes on that defense. That might just be not a very good team. I think the bill came due a little earlier than they expected. I knew it was going to come due, but it looks like the bill has just come due for them way sooner than I thought. The Packers, their lack of any kind of experience or effectiveness in general at wide receiver is killing them. They, after yesterday, you got to say, they look like a team that's got some problems that are not going to go away. The Saints, who looked like they were going all in to have a big year this year with Winston, 2-4, and things are starting to slip away. They've got a bunch of injuries, and I'm not seeing it with them at this point either. That was a team that was supposed to be one of the top NFC dogs, and I mean, they needed every call in the book to beat us in New Orleans. Like, I think we win that game by multiple scores with even a slightly competent officiating crew. The Cardinals, they look bad too. I mean, we saw it firsthand yesterday. That was a team that made the playoffs last year. They don't look good. And, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I'll give the Falcons credit, okay? They're better than I thought they would be. They have a positive point differential. Their offense is actually pretty good, which is something I didn't expect this year with Mariota and that offensive line. But they're still not any kind of a juggernaut. Their defense is still not particularly good. So you go up and down this list and you see one truly great team, a couple of teams that are good, and then meh. So I'm not saying the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC or they're going to be the best team in the NFC, but what I'm saying is that as it turns out, even though the Packers kept their quarterback, the Bucks kept their quarterback, the Rams seem to reload to go compete for a championship this year, even though all these things happened to where it looked like the NFC was going to be a perfectly solid conference again, it didn't happen. We're not seeing it yet. Through 6 games, some of these teams that you just took for granted kind of look bad. And the teams that are good through the first stretch of this season, I think there is something of a mirage effect. You can't tell me the Giants are anything better than average, but they're 5-1. You can't tell me the Vikings are an elite team, but they have the record of one. I believe that there will be a reversion to the mean there. And I'm seeing enough issues with these theoretical top dogs like Tampa, San Fran, LA, Green Bay, New Orleans, to where I don't think there's going to be the them rising to the top as the season goes on. I don't think Green Bay is suddenly going to remember, oh, hey, we have Aaron Rodgers. We're going to go 14-3 or 13-4. No, I think that team has legitimate problems that are not going to go away this year no matter what they do. So I'm not saying this Seahawks team can rise to the top, but what I am saying is that because there are so many problems in this conference, there's a playoff spot you can grab just by getting a little lucky, just by getting a little bit better, okay? And I know you guys know, I know you guys understand that this Seahawks team is not likely to win the Super Bowl. Maybe you could say they're not even likely to be able to win a playoff game. But as an NFL team full of professionals, with guys who are paid millions of dollars to go out there and play, you got to try, all right? You got to go for it. If it's there for you, you got to go for it. And with the way this conference is shaking out, I think it is there for us. A couple of the wild card spots are probably going to come from the East, although like I said, I have doubts about the Giants maintaining this high level of play. You will probably see teams like the Packers and Rams get a little bit better, but not a lot better. And, I mean, you look in our division, the Niners look good, but other than that, what's between us and getting maybe that 7th wildcard spot? Really? What's between us and getting at least second in this division? Not a ton. Yeah, okay, we're going to have to beat the Rams head-to-head. That's never a great feeling to have to go do that. But they have problems, man, so why not? So yeah, the NFC's bad. All right, that's just what I wanted to get off my chest today. I'm going to watch this Sunday Night Football game soon. See you guys later. Go Hawks, and let me know what you think.